All right, welcome back to the podcast. Jhy is joining me today. I'm excited to hear her story, how she got started, what she's up to, what she's excited about. So, Jhy, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I love hearing stories of people who are getting started in the pizza business or growing their business. So, let's hear yours. How did you get started, first of all?
Well, it started a bit ago. I actually was working in a pizzeria for 4 years during college, and during that time, I was just, it was my like little college gig, and I learned how to make pizza there from a couple of guys, and then I learned how to do everything there. They had, like subs and other stuff there, but I was like really enamored with the pizza. So after working there for about 4 years, I had moved abroad to Spain for a little bit, and when I came back home, I was pretty broke, so then I went back to the pizzeria, and so I was just like, still kind of in it, and then that ended pretty soon when I was like, okay, I probably need to like go and do some other things because I got my degree. I got my degree in graphic design actually, and not um, in anything culinary. And so yeah, that's where the pizza journey kind of started.
So, you got a degree in graphic design. I'm sure that helps you now when it comes to like marketing and creating content and stuff, right?
Yes, for sure. I design like all my like logo, all that stuff. I do all the social media, everything for Devoured, and so yeah, it's been super helpful not having to pay anyone to do that. It's just super nice to pop on, pop off. It does kind of overcomplicate things though, because then I have to go and take that time to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, lately I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of popping on Canva. You can kind of tell, and I just been like, I gotta do what you gotta do. It's like it's just things are moving too fast, so got to use that backup plan.
Canva is not a bad platform if you like, especially if you have
No,
no
no,
design
no,
skill like
no.
me.
Right. No shade to Canva at all. It's just like, like I'm capable and able to use Illustrator and things as a designer. I'm like, oh, like, like, am I going to do that or am I going to just use a template that's
Right.
already there for me? So it's super useful for a lot of people, especially myself now. But yeah, no shade to them
Yeah.
at all.
Well, I'm sure like as a designer, you're probably like, oh, 1,000 people have used this template. I could create something so much more better. But like sometimes time is of the essence.
Yes, seriously, seriously.
So describe your business now. Like where are you located? What are you doing now?
Yeah, so Devoured, it's kind of it's a pop-up pizza business. I go around the city in Kansas City. I set up a tent and I literally sling pizza wherever we have like events with other vendors around the city. Sometimes I collab with breweries, wineries, that kind of thing. But it it's not a brick and mortar. It's not a truck. And a lot of people get confused about that. They're like, but like, how is this like a thing? Like, so yeah, so I literally am just a pop up. I have my things in a couple of cars, and then we drive it, and then we set up shop, and we are kind of a not a virtual pizza business, but we're very mobile in the
Yeah.
sense that we're not a pizza truck, but also we're not a brick and mortar. We're kind of just in the middle.
It's a
We're a
great
pop
testing
up.
ground though, isn't it?
Yes, it's great because I can just like change things when I want. I can tweak things. I've tried slices. I've tried breakfast pizza. I've tried all types of different, you know, combinations of things, and it's great because then I like, okay, I can get feedback pretty quick,
Yeah.
and then I can like switch things up, and if it's just like not working for the model, then it's just not working, and I can shift.
Yeah.
So that's been super nice.
I like that too. And a lot of people email me and they're like, Bruce, I want to start a pizzeria. Where should I start? And I'm always hesitant to say, open a pizzeria because it's a lot of work and it's a lot different opening a pizzeria and operating a business than it is making pizza, right? Like, what if you opened a pizzeria and you hated it? And you're like, oh my God, I just spent
Yeah,
all this money on rent and these equipments and I hate doing this. Like, that's a terrible place to be in.
exactly. Like I started the pop up in the backyard. My backyard. Me and my partner were just like, well, I had won a Gosney Rockbox,
Yeah.
on an Instagram contest giveaway.
Did you really?
Chef Matty Matheson, he's a Canadian chef. He was actually giving away a Rockbox. This was 2019. And so he was just like, come up with this elaborate story about, what you would do on your adventure with the Rockbox. And so then I just started coming up with like all this random shit that I would do with the Rockbox. And it seemed to work because then I shortly got a DM saying, hey, you won the Rockbox. I'm like, oh, snap. Like, like I've messed with pizza before and like, I'm working these other jobs and stuff, but like, this is really cool. So then I started messing around with it, making my own dough and doing stuff like that.
Hold
and
on a
I
second.
was like,
What were the things that you mentioned that you would do with the Rockbox if you got it? And did you do any of them?
No, not I mean, no, not at all.
All right.
Like, because I mean, I started a business out of it, but I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna like, because you got to tag your friends and things, and I was just like, I'm gonna take this friend, and then we're gonna like drive the coast, and then we're gonna like drop the Rockbox off, and we're gonna like do some pizza spins. Just dumb. Like, it was just literally like me writing out paragraphs, just like, hey man, like, let me get this Rockbox, man.
Yeah. Well, like everything else on Instagram, it's not always as glamorous as it seems, right?
Right. But I mean, it was fun. It was just kind of like something to do at the time. I was just like entered the giveaway. I honestly thought that those Instagram giveaways were a scam. I just was like no one ever wins these things, and then it was like, oh shit, like I'm winning a $700 oven at that time. It was about $700-800, which was a big deal because I was like, I wouldn't have gone out and bought that myself, honestly.
Right. Do you use the Rockboxes as your ovens for your pop-ups?
Yeah. So as of April of this May, I had to get a second one because it's just like you can't churn out a lot of pies out of one Rockbox oven. So I have two of them now, and the old one that I got actually like seems like it's an older model. Like they like definitely did some updating on the second one because it's it's probably time to trade in the old girl. But yeah, so I just go around my two ovens. It's super mobile, super portable. I like them. There are some things that like I definitely would like or not like on them. They are super solid and heavy.
Yeah.
But like actually making the pizza, like it's been great. Like the pizza comes out fantastic. So
What do you wish they would do to make it different?
I'm
sure they'd like to hear that feedback.
Yeah, I would say like on like they have like this little handle thing you put around the Rockbox to like carry it. That thing just like that little
like the Velcro piece strap.
Yeah, this doesn't really. It's like when you carry those things all the time, it's like this. Like I need something else, or maybe I just need to get a damn cart and just roll them. But like that, and then like just some of the so like my first Rockbox, the old one, I'm actually starting to see like some cracking on the top.
Really?
I think it was just because it's just like the old version. Yeah. And I also have to use a lighter to light it up. It won't light it.
The old one or the new one?
The old one. The new one's great. It's like they definitely made some improvements to it. It's just that the flimsy strap. But like but the old one, I'm like, damn, like I probably need to like talk to somebody about switching this out. But that's another conversation. Just random, but yeah.
So in full transparency, they gave me a Rockbox recently to try out, and I had an uni before, and I got this Rockbox, and I agree with you with the handle. That is hard, and I don't lug it around. Like it's at my house, and I brought it over to my sister's house and baked some pizza, and so I'm not lugging it around like every day or every weekend like you are. And I did think like two things. I'm like, this is awkward. And then I'm like, oh my God, this could break at any moment. Like, what if this breaks? So like this strap, it's just Velcro. It's like not like it's the most stable thing in the world. So I was a little nervous of that.
No.
But I do like the way the Rockbox cooks compared to the uni. Definitely I can cook more pizzas in a quicker period of time with the Gosney Rockbox than I could in my uni that I did have.
Yeah, that's actually good to hear because I was kind of on the fence. I was like, maybe should I like try it out for a third oven? But But like Rockbox, yeah, I love the way it cooks the pies. It like I haven't had any issues with that at all. It's just really, yeah, just like those like small things that like people probably don't think about, like when you do have a different pizza model. That I mean, like they're definitely like geared towards backyard,
Yeah.
camping, stuff like that. Not like have a full business and do that. I mean, you can do that. A lot of people have been doing that with them, but I definitely think that, yeah, just those small things, like, oh, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't imagine doing it, like lugging it around all the time. I brought it like twice and I was like, I ain't doing this anymore.
Yeah, no.
But I think that, like, there has been a lot of people that started businesses like you, and I think that's great. I feel like it's like 2020 taught us a lot. It taught us a lot of good and bad. The good is that it gave us a lot of opportunity to start businesses like you have, right? Like weekend pop-ups with a couple rock boxes. So for a low cost of entry, you can kind of start a business and see if you like it, and then let the business help you raise money to do other things if you want to grow that business.
Yeah, yeah, it's been pretty solid. I mean, like when I started in my backyard, it was so I had actually landed like a sous chef job at this bank. They had like an executive kitchen right before the pandemic hit, and I had been like working my butt off trying to find a kitchen job that was Monday through Friday, like just straight up like 9 to 5, like
Yeah.
regular like daytime hours. I wasn't like in there till like 1, 2 o'clock. I wasn't, um, it was just like I kind of like hated that environment. But I loved like the cooking of it. So I finally found a job. Then March hits, and then like they're like, "Oh, well, sorry to say, you don't have a job." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, this sucks."
Yeah.
So it was like after that, it was like that was like mid March. I was just kind of just honestly a little bit confused and bored. So I was just watching pizza videos on like YouTube, doing a bunch of dough like everyone else during the pandemic. But I was just like, I mean, I had been making pizza before then, when I won the oven, but like it wasn't like I don't know why I just like started obsessing about it. I was just like, wow, this is great. Like I can actually like build a business on this thing.
Were you thinking of
Like
that
I
when you
could
were like experimenting? Were you thinking about like how to like start a business with it?
um yes and no. I've always wanted to like be an entrepreneur and like work for myself because I honestly like I hate working with people. Not in that way, but like oh like just
I
you
get it.
know meetings and like the boring stuff. I really just it would annoy me tremendously. And then I was like, man, like I really like I would love to have like kind of concept, some type of like restaurant concept of some sort. But I was like, obviously, like a brick and mortar is out of my league right now. A food truck is like, it's still expensive to have that and
Right.
like get all the permits for it and all that stuff. So I was like, I just kind of was like thinking like, okay, where can I start? And I was just like, doing pre-orders like out of my backyard from like family and friends. I
Yeah.
was just like, honestly, just like I hadn't seen anyone. I was like, just come over, like get a pizza. And so then a bunch of people just started like, hey, like I just started posting on Instagram, like, all right, I'm having pre-orders, like, sign up for this. And then I'd like get everything. And so I wasn't like creating waste. I had like knew, whenever was when whenever someone was gonna like order something. So like that was just super helpful. Um, but it was like in that moment, I was like, okay, I was like, maybe like I could like actually like build this thing like outside of the backyard. But I didn't really know how or what to do. I mean, like I had my partner like make me a spreadsheet. It was like, like, all right, this order, this person, that kind of thing. And I was like, maybe I should like make a little website. So like I've like created a little website that like people could like get stuff from, but then that was kind of still confusing me. It was just kind of like weeding out like what worked, what did work, kind of getting some like recipes together, just like testing and stuff. And then yeah, like it was just like backyard specials. That's what I was calling them. It was just like, all right, like come back here and get something. But yeah, it definitely I don't know. I always had a vision to do a concept. I didn't know if it was gonna be pizza. I didn't know if it was gonna be any of those things. But it just kind of like I felt like it just fell in my lap.
That's
Honestly,
good.
like it was like It's like you got a free oven. You got like you know how to make pizza. You've been in a pizzeria. Like, you know, like why not
It was a
do those
sign.
things? Yeah, I guess so.
So when did you start? Like, what was your first, or when did you do your first pop up? And like, how did you? 'Cause I'm sure, like now you're a seasoned vet, right? Like you've done pop ups, you know what to expect. But like, what was that first one? Like, I'm curious to see. Was it a hot mess, or was it all organized and everything went well?
Actually, okay, so the first one, so I've doing a lot of like things in between the pop-ups and stuff, but like during the pandemic, I was helping out with this nonprofit. It's called Canby's Markets in Kansas City, and they like work to like help uh help fill in the gap like with like food and in like underprivileged areas. So
Yep.
they like put like fridges, they like put like healthy food in there, produce and stuff. So I was like helping them out at the beginning of the pandemic, and then I actually started working there, like working, and was helping them out with a bunch of stuff. So there was this girl that was actually in the building, and her name is Coco. She was like, hey, I'm doing this. Oh, actually, no, I came to her because I was like, hey, can I use one of your compost buckets? Can I just like wash it out? Because she had like a 5 gallon bucket. I was like, I need it for like my pizza dough. And then she was like, your pizza dough. Like, she's like, what do you do? Like, you know, like she's confused because I'm at Canby's. And I'm like, oh well, I have a pizza pop up like outside of here that I do, and you know, people pick up from my backyard. And she was like, would you like want to do our customer appreciation thing for Compost Collective? And I'm like, sure. Like, what do I do? So she was like, well, like you'll be a vendor, like you'll have to get, you know, a permit and this and that. And so I was like, okay. So then like she told me all the information. It was in April of this year. It's like April 11th. And so I had to, it was like maybe a month before when she told me, no, it was probably like less than a month before. And she's like, yeah, you need a tent, you need blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So I'm like going out buying all this like stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like I don't have this, doing all this research. Just like, okay, what do I need to do for like the health department? Because like they're psychos. And then I was just like, oh man, like, you know, so I got everything together before, you know, the date. Uh, First time I like ever popped open like a tent like that, like a 10 by 10 tent.
Yep.
I was like struggling, but I had like my partner with me, and then I had I call him my intern. His name's Jones, and I had him helping me with like, which he's never even touched a pizza. Well, he said that he worked at this place called Minsky's, and he's the cheese guy. So I was like, all right. I was like, I trust you. So you know, he's like, I'm the cheese guy. I was like, all right, you help me with some of these things. And then my partner Britt, she was like, all right, I'll do register. And so then we just like literally, it was
Wow.
us three. We popped up the tent and everything. We got everything together. I made some shirts, and then and it was like at that point I had one oven, and it was the old girl oven, and it was overwhelming. It
How many
was
pizzas
the
did you
first
do?
time. Um, I can't even remember. I kind of feel like it was only like 30 or something.
But that's a lot
Like
out of a rock
honestly,
box.
yeah. Yeah, maybe like 20 to 30 pizzas. There were people that were like in line, like at the tent, and I was just like in the back, like, you know, sweating, trying to like make it as fast as I could. Boxes were like piling up. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, what do I do? But I mean, I was able to obviously conquer that, but it was eye opening. But then it was like eye opening and shocking because so many people loved it, like loved the concept, loved just everything about it. They were like, oh my God, they were just asking me questions. They're just like, you know, like, do you have a brick and mortar? What is this? They had never seen it. I mean, Kansas City, we're kind of this like emerging city. Like now we're a little bit late to like the pop-up train.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I had already, like, I travel a lot, and so I had already seen like some of these concepts other places. Like the dude, what, Peels on Wheels, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, like they were like,
Lewis.
there's all these people that are like doing these things, or like Lupa Cata, like
Yep.
she was doing a bunch of stuff, and I'm just like, I was like, this, like, I could do this here. And it was kind of like just very inspiring to have like those people doing that. I was kind of, looking at their Instagram. Okay, what are they doing? How are they,
Right.
how are they getting this volume out? Like, just trying to like pick people's brains. But yeah, I mean, like I had a lot of people like asking like, hey, when's your next pop up? And so I was just like, well, I don't know, but we're gonna sign up for something. And then it was just like email, like I had to create an email started coming in, and it was just like literally everyone was like wanting the pop-up somewhere. And it got very overwhelming because I was working a full-time job at that time. And it was just like trying to balance that and be good at that, and then also, create a good product and like have the pop-up stuff like be good and smooth.
Yeah.
uh Kind of crazy.
I love it. That's a great story though. Like it gave you like it gave you like a business model that, all right, if because one thing when your family and friends come over to your backyard and eat pizza, like they're not going to really say anything bad. Like this stinks. You should get a new job. But, like when people
Right.
go to a pop-up and they're paying money for it, they're going to be pretty honest about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like I've had a little bit of the reverse. Maybe because some of the people around me are like, okay, it's been half and half. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, my partner, she's like, she has a really incredible palate. Uh, she just can pick up any flavors, whatever, and like culinarily, like we both like a very like we call each other foodies. We like love
Yeah.
like different food and stuff. And so it was like if something if something was trash, she would definitely tell. She was like, no, this is not working. Like not like this texture is off. Like what's going on with this? Like I have so I had a friend. He told me that he absolutely hates mushrooms and like no, like I'm not doing that. And I was like, okay, whatever. But like I made this like portobello spread that I put on my vegan pizza.
Yeah.
And I, put blistered tomatoes and zucchini on there. And one day I tricked him into trying it, and he was like, "Damn, like this is so good!" Da 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 da. And I'm like, I thought you didn't like mushrooms. And he's just like in shock. He's like, "Oh, like this is mushrooms," that kind of stuff. But there were people that were like just tasting as they go, telling me like, "Oh, this is like burnt," like, "Oh my god, like I think this is a little charred on this," like. But then things just started getting better. That was early stages for sure. Like
I like it. It looks
a little
good.
crispy on the edges. But yeah, I mean I'm just learning and trying to figure out honestly how to use the Rockbox too, because
Yeah, it
I
is a
was
learning
watching a
curve.
bunch of videos. Yeah. And like now that I know how to use it, I'm like, oh, like this is like super simple. But like at first I was like, I didn't know how to get the regulator on there. I was like watching videos about. I tried the wood before, the original wood
Yeah.
feeder. It didn't really work as much at all. It would smoke a lot. And then I was like, okay, I have to like try gas. I was scared of a propane tank. I was like, there was there was a lot of like, woo, sketchy moments where I was like, do I want to do this? Like the fear was kind of taking over me, but then it just kind of just got easier as I was like, all right, it's fine.
Do you have like a
Do
set
research,
dough
you'll be all right.
recipe now? Like, is it the same dough recipe that you make over and over, or are you always kind of tweaking it and adjusting it?
Yeah, I would say I'm always making improvements to like everything.
Yeah.
Like especially the dough, because like oh my god, with the weather like here, it's like super humid during the summer, and like I mean even leading up, like it's just humid as hell. So I would have a lot of issues with like the dough just oh, not
You got a
right
visitor.
now. Yeah, I'd have a lot of issues with like the dough just over proofing. It'd be like spilling over and like my dough trays, and I'm like, oh my god, like what's going on? But like like the temperature would just overall like jack me up. So I'm like still learning to kind of adjust some things, not put as much yeast in things like when temperature's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think like I'll probably still be improving the dough.
Always, right?
I mean like yeah, always. Like a lot of people they love the dough. They always like compliment it. And I'm always just still shocked about that, but they're always like, it's like a cloud, like it's so puffy, it's so good. And I'm like, thanks. I'm like, don't know how I'm doing this, but okay. like,
What kind of
I
flour
am
do
not a
you use?
scientist. Um, I use 2 flowers. I can't tell you both,
All right. Tell me,
but
message me offline. You can tell me to message
all
me
right,
off.
all right, all right. Yeah,
And
I'll tell you.
where did you go to initially learn? Did you like go to YouTube or did you get any books or was it just kind of you doing it on your own?
So I had watched like the dough guy at the pizzeria that I was previously at like a lot. Like I'd just be back there talking to him and he'd be
Yeah.
making dough. And so I kind of knew like the steps with it, like when he'd like roll things out and do all that. But like the actual like act of making dough, I was doing it by hand when I was doing the backyard specials. I
Yeah.
was doing it by hand all the time,
Wow.
and that got really tiring. I was just like, man, like this is a lot of work to do it by hand each time. And like honestly, like when I got a mixer, it like I thought I was scared that it was gonna change the taste or change the texture of it, but it actually like made it better because like it could kind of rip through, get some of that air out and things like that. But yeah, I mean, like it it was kind of a it was kind of a journey with the dough. Like I was looking at YouTube videos. I was also kind of like thinking about the knowledge that like I had previously, and then like I didn't really like read a bunch of like pizza books, but like I had like just like a couple of like cookbooks that like like dough making kind of principles and things,
Yeah.
and then I would get like super confused about like the biga and the Polish and like people like doing sourdough starter and like people just like doing like the extra most, and I was like, okay, how do I like simplify this? Like I love the flavors of those things, but like I'm like I don't think that that's good. Like that's gonna work for me, personally. Um, like I love those flavors, but like I was like, how do I just make this super simple?
I love
Um,
that. I love that you
yeah.
did that
So I
because it
just
is
it's
like enticing and like naturally leavened or sourdough or like you said, Polish is like popular now and everybody's talking about it, especially when
yeah
everybody was like kind of trapped in the house and doing it at home. But sometimes you gotta like, using yeast in your dough isn't bad. And sometimes, like you said, in order to run a business, you kind of have to make it as simple as you can so you can repeat the process consistently. That's the most important part.
yeah exactly. Like I was thinking, I was like trying to just think like large scale too, outside of a pop up. Like if I want to grow this into something else and expand, like how do I teach this to other people without like over complicating things? I
Right.
mean, like even some of my recipes, like I don't want to like let go of some of those secrets. I'm very like nervous about it, but it's like in order for me to like to grow it, I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to kind of like, all right, like let some of these things go. Maybe have them sign a little MBA or something or
There you
NDA.
go.
Like, all right, like you- you're not gonna be walking off and, doing anything with this. But like it's just kind of like I think about like pizza culture and stuff, and like a lot of it like stems from like great tradition of like like oh like this was passed down from generation to generation, and it's like, I definitely am in a different realm. Like I'm like, pretty opposite to what the traditional pizza is. Even just like me in my image, like being a black woman in
Yeah.
pizza, it's totally different ball game. But like I would like love to like, keep a little traditional aspect in my business, and like maybe pass down, those recipes, and like I just like love that about like other restaurants where they have like those hidden secrets and like no, like no one does it like us,
Right.
that kind of thing. But then like there's also things that like I would love to share and like would love to like have other people like recreate and make. But who knows?
You know what though? I like that, sometimes being outside of an industry and having different perspective is better because you're not stuck doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't have those things that like where people are telling you, no, you have to do it this way. You just do what you like to do, right? And then if it comes
yeah,
out well and people like it, then that's good. Like I like that. I like the fact that you're breaking the mold for the pizza industry. Like I have 3 daughters, and I want them to grow up knowing like you can do whatever you want. There's no
yeah,
set standard of who is supposed to be in what category or this is how if you make pizza, this is how you have to make pizza. You have to start with this template, like Canva, right? Don't be the Canva of pizza.
Right. But no shade to Canva.
No
Don't
shade,
get
no shade to Canva. I use Canva myself. I like it, but it's not like
yeah, same,
the
same.
most. Um, it's very basic. Let's just put it that way, right? And like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
you could go and break that mold and be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to put mushrooms on pizza because I think it tastes good. And like, that's what I love about pizza. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also like why I love pizza too, because it's like I was like, working at a fine dining restaurant and like, we were very creative in the sense that we were like giving out really great like fresh ingredients and things like that. And I love like the elements of like being simple and like striving for like the best like with like the meats and cheeses and things that we were using. But like I was like, okay, like how do I like use those tools and like put it towards pizza where it's like everyone's like getting like a really tasty bite of something super
Yeah.
simple, super good, but like and it could still be elevated, but it could also still be like just like straight up some pizza and not be pretentious. But like I just like love that like yeah, I could literally create whatever. I could try something out and like, it could be trash or it could be like really, really good. And
Right.
like, you just kind of like you build on from those blocks and like it doesn't have this like extra pressure behind it. Like I guess, a fine dining restaurant would have like if they were trying to, try this new thing. But I just like yeah, I just love that like I'm able to like push the limits on anything that I use. And just like using different products too. Like I just like I love a good, good pizza. Just just good, fresh, simple ingredients, like nothing crazy, nothing like super canned and like it was like, like my last pizzeria, it was like that I was like working for. It was like they used a lot of like bagged things, a lot
Yeah.
of like frozen things, and I was like it's like like this like hurts me seeing this every day. So it was like
And it doesn't make you like if you use all that ingredients and like you get. I mean, listen, obviously canned sauce is not bad, but everybody uses
yeah,
canned
yeah,
sauce.
yeah, yeah.
But like when it comes
Right.
to your ingredients, if you're using the same things that everybody else is using, what makes you different? Or what makes someone want to go to you?
But some people like love that type of pizza. So they like will ask me like they're like, "Wait, what does this even mean?" If I'm like using creme fraiche or something like on a pizza, they're like, like, wait, why? What is that?" And I'm just like, just you have to try it. You have to like open
Yeah.
up your mind a little bit, but it's not, it's not gonna be like, always the pep or the cheese. But you can get those things for me, definitely. But like I always like encourage people to like, just like try something or like split it with a friend so that you can like try it.
The cool thing about the
Um,
pizzas like
yeah.
that you make is probably they're 12-inch pizzas, right? So you could get two. You could get like your regular
Yes.
one that you know you're gonna like cheese or pepperoni, but
Yep.
then experiment with the other one.
Yeah, exactly. And then most of the time, like when they do try another like flavor, they're like holy shit, like that they won't like switch their order. Now they're like ordering that thing. And they're like they're like, nope, not ordering anything else now. Like I'm up to this. And I'm like, oh that's I'm glad that you're like liking it. But yeah, it's amazing. It's
Well, so
definitely amazing.
what does the future hold for you? Like, what are your plans for the future?
I'm kind of feeling like so I am actually gonna be on like a little TV competition thing for
Are
pizza,
you?
but I can't talk about that. Yes. So that's coming up pretty soon.
Where is that? You don't
But
have to tell me what it is, but like, where is it going to be located?
in Los Angeles.
Oh,
And yeah, so I'm gonna be doing something with that. And I hope to win so that I can put some of that towards a truck. I would
it
really
doesn't have
love
anything
a
to do with
Pete.
Gordon Ramsay, does it?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, if he pops out, hell yeah! Like, what's up, man?
I didn't know if you were
But
going on like Kitchen Nightmares or something like that. Isn't that in Los
no,
Angeles?
no, no, no,
All
no,
right.
no. Oh no, not that. Something different, new. But
When is that going to be
yeah,
happening?
I mean, I don't know when it airs. Probably like years from here or something. Well, not
All
years,
right.
but they like take forever.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
I'll
let me
let
know
I'll
when.
let
Let me
everyone
know.
know.
Yeah, let me know when that happens.
Yeah, so doing that, hoping that if I win that, I could put some of that towards a truck. I would love to get a little like P10 Chevy, like little like ice cream looking truck for Devoured. I think it would look like real cool in the city. And but I'm just gonna continue to do pop-ups until until I'm able to get a truck of some sort. But also, I kind of got some weird news today that this very old pizzeria, it's called Joe's Pizza in Kansas City. They're like connected to this bar called Kelly's, and
Yeah.
it's been there for like years. But the owner is deciding to retire, so he can like hang out with his grandkids and do whatever wants. So that little space, it's like a little like nook in the wall, has like a couple of tables and stuff. I'm like kind of eyeing it, but I don't know. Hopefully get contact from that and see what happens. Like I don't really want a brick and mortar, but like I feel like just because of overhead, it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. But like I feel like if I were to, it would be in a space like that. It's just very like small, quaint, kind of slice shop looking. But yeah, so I don't know where the future holds for Devour. There's a lot of options. I know the main goal right now is to work towards a truck, but hoping that we can just kind of keep doing our thing, doing some private events, things like that. Just love to keep like doing that throughout the winter, so we can sustain ourselves. But yeah.
Where can people go say hello to you or follow along and see when that TV show comes out that you're going to be on?
You guys can follow me at Devoured Pop-Up on Instagram, and that is with the ED. So Devoured Pop-Up on Instagram, on Facebook, Devoured Pop-Up, and our website is www.devouredpopup.com. And it's not devoured.
Yeah, we'll link it up
A
in the
lot
show
of
notes
people.
too.
Yeah. So
We'll put all that. So if you're
yeah.
listening to the podcast or watching it, we'll link all that up in the show notes. The correct one, Devoured ED, and on Instagram and Facebook and the website. Jhy, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It was great talking to you.
I appreciate it. You too. Thanks for having me.